it's Darcy from the Purposeful and welcome to my backyard. We're in a little different location today than what you normally see me in my kitchen. But I thought as a bonus this week, I would take you along on us creating our garden for the year because we're doing something a little different for us. And I thought that maybe you'd like to see what we're doing in case it gives you ideas about what you would like to do in yours. So what you can see back here is our shed. And in the background, this is our herb garden / garden from the last year. We had a very small one, but it was prolific. We had some issues during gardening time where COVID hit our house. So gardening kind of went out the window, doing anything large. So we kept it small and took care of what we could take care of. So we did a lot of small galvanized containers with herbs and tomatoes and peppers and things that we could actually control. And we did lettuces and some greens. We have done gardens in the past. We've done gardens very successfully some years. We've done gardens that just flopped. And so we're going to try something a little different this year because our health has been affected by COVID. So we want to make it easier on us to make sure that we can have the best garden that we can possibly have, that we can manage and maintain. This whole area is going to be full of herbs, and then there's a bunch of little containers that go along the side of the shed for herbs. Then the buckets go in behind these containers between that and the fence. We've got cardboard all laid out there so that we don't have weed growth, and that's what I'm about to do here. Let me show you how we're doing. We have purchased some 2x4x8 size galvanized steel containers. They're stock tanks that farmers would use to water their stock. So we decided to do this. We would have loved to have gotten some used, but you can't find them in our area right now. So we will continue to build out this garden year by year by trying to find used ones. What we're going to be doing is going into this space right here. What you see is we've cleared this out, mowed it down as good as we can mow it, and I'm going to start laying out cardboard underneath each of the containers where they're going to go. We're going to lift them up on blocks so that they are up off the ground to lift them up higher for us to manage these a little easier. What you're seeing right here is kind of like the leftovers of the garden that we had 2 years ago that we've let overgrow because we couldn't maintain it last year, so we let it go. But we also know that we can't do this in the ground anymore. So we're going to expand the garden from here, clear this out in the coming year, and expand it down that way as well. And that's our water tank that's going to go, our water barrel that will eventually go in the corner of the house to start collecting rainwater. So now you can see how we're planning on doing this. We have an issue with a creeping vine that happens in our yard that we're trying to make sure that we try to create some barrier, which is why we're using all the cardboard. And then we'll be, over time, laying down mulch on top of it between each of the things and around them so that we have a good space to use that we don't have to mow. But that's why I've also given this section enough space for a mower to get through. That was one of the requirements for my husband, that as we do this, that we need to make sure that we leave mower space. Now, if you ask why I didn't turn these up on their other side so that the holes went up, that's the problem with the ants for us. We did that with our smaller garden last year, and what happened was the ants made colonies in these safe spaces, and then that gave them direct access to the planter through the holes in the bottom of it. So we've opted to try this way to mitigate some of that. We don't know how well it's going to work, but this is what we're trying this year. Okay, it's a couple days later because we've had some pretty big rain come through and we couldn't actually work back here. So what I've got is the first bed kind of set up. Here is the bin. This is what we're doing. We're setting up lava rock in the bottom because we couldn't do wood, which was our original intention, but we decided to keep the wood that we have because it's firewood, and after this past winter for Texas, we need to save that firewood. Then we're going to put compost, mushroom compost, lava sand, mulch, and soil, mix it together to make the soil for the bed. And then the second bed's about to go here. I have to re-level it. Okay, after a little troubleshooting about how level they are and how stable they're going to be, this is our final. Just the way that they step down the hill, this is how I made it work. So now we get down to the filling of the insides. We will eventually, as we get more boxes, have right here, there will be an outer rim of boxes that all of this will get covered over in mulch eventually. And here we go. Lava rock in the bottom, and we are ready to start mixing some soil. So what we've got is we're using this timberline soil that is cow manure and compost, which contains a lot of mulch in the compost. We're doing those bags, plus we're doing a mixture of shale, rocks, lava sand and worm castings as fertilizer and soil amendment to help retain moisture, because being in Texas, trying to keep things wet in the height of the summer is really hard. We can come out and have to water at least two times a day in the worst part of the summer. So this is to help try to contain some moisture so the plants don't suffer as much, because it's Texas. So what I'm doing right now is filling up this bin, and then I put layers of the compost down, then I put layers of the amendments down, and then I'll mix it up and then start again another layer. So I'm not trying to dig through all the dirt and layers at one time. So that's what I'm working on now, and then we'll get to the other two bins. We're still waiting on more of the compost, so I'm not going to get all three bins today. But at least can get this one started. I'm going to start laying out the plants that I haven't already planted in the other planting area that we have, and I'll show you that in a minute, but that's what I'm working on right now. Basically what I've got is a zucchini here, and then some bush green beans in the back here. These pepper plants and the watermelon are all planted here for safekeeping until we get our third bed right there done, because we still have to get more dirt for it. These have taken 10 40-pound bags per tank, and that's with a couple of inches of lava rocks on the bottom. But we're doing this as an investment for our future. So yes, it took some money this year for us to get these in, but that's what we're working on. This is a tomato bed that I have probably overpacked, but we'll see what happens with them down the road. What I've got are 3 Romas up here up front, and we still need one more cage here because it will eventually need it. Yes, I have probably overpacked this bed, but I'm not growing large tomatoes. I'm growing cherries, grapes, and Roma, because we don't really eat a lot of big tomatoes, and I don't put them away. So what we're doing is snacking sun-dried tomatoes, and then Romas we use a lot of. And then this third bed will be where the peppers and the watermelon go, and anything else that I happen to pick up along the way. But I think it's going to be half watermelon and the one watermelon, just to see what happens with it. My youngest loves it, so we're going to try just to see what happens. To forgive the mess, we're still working at the plan on how we're going to landscape all this back here. But what we've got here are the herb gardens, however many there are. So I've got oregano, in the back is Thai basil, then we've got some sage and rosemary, then a whole bed of basil that, yes, it's overplanted, but I did it on purpose. Basil doesn't do well here in the height of the summer, so what I'm hoping for is a good early crop in our early season. Then as it kind of goes dormant during the summer, and then it will come back in the fall. So I will never have big, huge, bushy basil plants, but I will have a lot of them that produce a lot of smaller leaves, which is what we prefer. So we have that. And then I can just take whatever excess we have to make pesto for the freezer. Then over here, I've got some plants that probably aren't going to make it. I planted them too late in the year. It's some kale I've never heard of that I want to give it a try, but we're going to keep them small. Swiss chard that I don't think it's going to make it. And then right back here we've got a radish bed that we're growing for the greens only. But I think I am too late in the year to do greens well, but we'll see how this works as a test. But after the freeze in February for us, I got a late start doing all of my planting with seeds, and so I'm just trying to do what I can do to see what happens. Okay, today's last day. Excuse the friendly bird that is here in our yard and the kids playing across the alley. We are here. So the beds are finished. I've got all of them filled. I am beginning to mulch. We've got a major storm coming tomorrow, so I'm trying to take care of that before it comes. I'm leaving the beans kind of unmulched for now until they start popping up sprouts, if they're going to do that. Just because I think that's what I should do. But if I'm wrong, tell me down below and I'll add a little bit more mulch to it. We have some pretty big rains coming tomorrow, so I'm going to let this settle and then fill up tomorrow with what happens next. Now off to mulch the herbs and rebuild this this bed down here where we're trying to use the cardboard to help with the mowing. So this is the idea that we're going to do. Yeah, of course I got to fill in holes where the winds that we had yesterday blew all of our boxes away. But this is the idea, is that we're just going to surround this whole area right here with boxes, and then the mulch on top to help with maintenance of weeds and what grows in our backyard, which is a horrible vine that we can't control very well, that a neighbor planted many moons ago and has kind of taken over the neighborhood. So this is our beds at this point. So here's the final update on our stock tank a container garden. I still have a couple of bags of mulch just to finish this off and fill in these spots right here. I've got some of the plastic bags up under the bricks to help where I didn't get enough of the bricks down. I meant of the cardboard down, that I've put some bags up under there to help take care of weeds coming up through there. So just need a couple more bags to fill in this hole across here, and I am done. And then we still have to do the herb garden that way, but I thought I'd show you this all ready with all the plants ready to grow. That's what it looks like. And then pardon the mess, because we had a big storm that came through and blew all the cardboard that I had started setting up. But this is what the rest of the herb garden looks like. We're going, and already my radishes have, we have baby radishes. So we're growing these for the greens, and I need to, I see where I need to plant some more to make this kind of succession, but there we go. That is the herb garden, and then my working area right here. And we still need to do some yard work to catch up, but there we go. Excuse the red face and the neighbor kids, but we are all done. That's it for my gardening season. I'm finished. I've gotten thousands of mosquito bites today. I've gotten everything planted. I'm mulched. The only thing that I have left to do is to mulch the surrounds of all the beds, and that will happen over time. We're going to take a few weeks to recover from the budget that just got blown, and then just buy some as we go and just add more as we go along. So thanks for watching. I would love to know what you're doing in your garden. Are you planting raised bed gardens? Are you doing container gardens? Do you have a big plot where you're doing a lot of gardening out in farmland? Are you not a gardener? I wasn't for a long time, but it's come upon me in the last few years that it's important for me to do for me. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Happy gardening.